In this video, I'm going to demonstrate the statistical functions CountIFS, SumIFS, and AverageIFS. If you've used Excel very long at all, you've already used the sum function, the average function, maybe the count A or count numbers function. So basically we would type right here equals sum, and we're going to go through a range, and it just sums everything in the range that you've selected. But these functions are what if we wanted to sum the duration for just the theft claims. Well, that's when we're going to be using SumIFS. So let's run over to the CountIFS sheet. Before I do, notice this is a table, and I've named this table claims. And so that's the table we're going to use for generating all of our information. So CountIFS, this box right here, basically, this will be the tooltips you see when you type CountIFS. That's criteria range 1, which is basically where do you want to look, and the green is what do you want to look for. So that's criteria 1. And you can have multiple things you're looking for. So down here in this example, we're going to not only look for the theft claims, but the ones that are open. So that's having multiple criteria. So you could imagine, given this data, your boss could simply ask, how many theft claims do we have? So that would be a classic example of using CountIFS. So let me zoom in just a little bit here and over. So we're going to equal COUNTIF. Notice there's two, if and ifs without an S. They're essentially the same thing. CountIF without the S will count the number of cells that meet one condition. So for instance, theft. Count all of these cells where we see the word theft. CountIFS does the same thing, except you can have one or more than one condition. So my recommendation to everybody is always use the one with the S, because it basically handles one condition or more than one. There's no reason really to use CountIF without the S. So when you put in parentheses, now we're seeing the tooltips, and it's asking what is the criteria range. So I have this up here. Basically, the criteria range is where do we want to look. So this is how you reference a table. You use the name of the table. So I called it claims, and notice I have several tables that we're always going to use the claims. The minute you type CL and it's selected, I can just hit the tab key. And now when I want to reference columns in that table, I just type a square bracket. And up comes all of the columns in that table. So in this case, we're looking for how many thefts we have. Well, that's in the description column. So I just type DE, there's description, and I can hit the tab key, and now I close that up. So we are looking in the claims description column. Notice there's not an @ symbol here. @ symbol means a single row in that column. So when we're doing formulas in our table, we would have an @ symbol. In this case, we don't. We want the entire column. So that is our criteria range. It's bold. That's what we just filled in, comma. It's asking, well, what is your criteria? And it is the word theft. And so I'm just going to click on this cell that has the word theft, and we're done. Close it up. How many theft claims do we have in our data? Turns out there are 99. So now, what if I want how many thefts are open? So we want to count these. Theft open, here's one, here's two more, right? So if we go through, of course, I don't want to do this manually. That's why we're learning these functions. Equal CountIFS. We have to use ifs this time because we have two criteria. It's asking, well, what's the criteria range? Well, we just did it. It's the claims table, square bracket, DE, tab, square bracket. Claims description, that's our range. What are we looking for in there, comma, right? Now I have my criteria for that range is theft, comma, because we have a second criteria. What is the range that has the open and closed in it? It's called status. So we go claims tab, square bracket, ST, tab, square bracket. So there's the range. That's where do we look, comma. What are we looking for? In the status range, we're looking for the word open. So I'm going to select that cell, parenthesis, enter. So of the 99 theft claims, 33 are still open. Let's do one more example that's a little bit different in that I want to count the number of claims where the duration is greater than 30. So this is a little bit different. We're going to do CountIFS just like before. The criteria range, just like before, is claims table square bracket, but this time it's the duration column. So DU tab square bracket. So my criteria range is the claims table duration column. What is the criteria? It's greater than 30. And here's the tricky part. That goes in quotes. This is a piece of text. Greater than 30, quote, is a piece of text because you have that greater than symbol. You put that in quotes. And so that's the part that's just a little bit tricky. You hit enter, and I have only 2 claims that are greater than 30. If I were to put greater than and equal to, we would get a larger number. Now, one solution, so you don't have to type all of that, whoops, backspace, and hit escape, is you can type greater than or equal to 30 in a cell, just like that. And then that is a piece of text. And so now when I do this formula, rather than typing in quotes, I can simply, boop, reference that cell, and that's already text, and I'm going to get the same result. So that's CountIFS, and notice it basically only has 2 things. Where am I looking, what range am I looking in, and what am I looking for? And you may have multiples of those criterias. Where am I looking? What am I looking for? Let's go take a look at SumIFS. So SumIFS has 3 things. Now I have ifs with an S, and those 3 things are what range am I summing, and then where do I want to look and what am I looking for? So the idea is I want to sum the duration of our processing for boat claims, like right here. I want to sum that 30 plus this 30 plus those 30s, now another 30, 2 29s. I want to sum the value anytime we see boat in the claim type. What is the total duration spent processing boat claims? Now, I mentioned there's some if without an S and some ifs with an S. I always use the S. This time, they're essentially the same, but here's what's a little confusing. On SumIF, they use the word range, which means criteria range. Here's my criteria, which that's kind of the same. But then the sum range is the 3rd parameter of this function. Whereas with the SumIFS, the sum range is the 1st parameter. And then where am I looking? What am I looking for? So you can use either one as long as we're looking for just one thing, but you need to pay attention because they reverse the order that the parameters show up. Again, I highly recommend always using SumIFS, and don't worry about the one without the S. In this case, how many criteria do I have? Just one. I just want to process the duration, the total duration spent on boat claims. So equals SumIFS with an S, parenthesis, sum range. What am I summing? I am going to sum the duration. So the same idea, you always want to reference your table. Don't drag through the cells, it takes too long. Type the name of the table. It will come up, you can tell it's a table because of this table indicator, and the minute it's highlighted. And by the way, if we were choosing a different table, you can use your mouse to click on it and then hit the tab key. In this case, I'm good with the first one, so I can just hit the tab key. Square bracket will bring up a list of columns in that table. In this case, remember we're on the sum range. I want to sum the duration. I can just click on it and then hit the tab key, square bracket. So there's my sum range. Notice it's bold. That's how I tell where I'm at. Now I'm going to type comma. Now, remember, I'm only going to sum this when I see boat. So now it's asking, well, where do you want me to look for boat? It again, claims table, square bracket, and it's going to be the claim type this time. Claim, oh, I'm just going to click on it and hit the tab key. Claim type. And when I'm looking through the claim type, comma, what am I looking for? What's the criteria? I'm looking for the word boat, and I just want to select that and close it up. We're ready to go. So I'm summing the duration for all of our boat claims. 919 days. So now your boss comes up to you and asks, what is the total duration spent processing boat accidents versus boat thefts? So what am I talking about? Boat accident right here, boat theft right here, accident, theft. I want to be able to compare the amount of time on boat thefts versus boat accidents. So what do I want to sum? I want to sum the duration, but there's two criteria, accident and theft. So equals SumIFS parentheses. What range am I summing? Well, it's the same, claims, square bracket, duration, square bracket. There's my range, comma. What range am I looking in? Well, we're going to look for two things. We're looking for the word boat, and we're looking for the word accident. So it doesn't matter which one you start with. I'm going to go ahead and go claims, square bracket. The boat is under claim type. So I will click on that. So that's the criteria range, comma, what am I looking for in claim type? Well, the fact that it's a boat right there, comma, and what's my second criteria range? Well, it's going to be claims, obviously, square bracket. Where do we see the word accident and theft? It's in the description. So we go to description, square bracket. What am I looking for? Well, remember, we're doing this twice. I'm going to go comma. And the first one, we're going to look for the word accident, right? Now, this formula, I'm going to be able to copy down, except I need to lock in on the word boat. I don't want that to move, so I'm going to put a $sign there. The word accident, I do want to move because I want this to represent theft after we copy it down. So close that up. One more time, sum range, the duration, criteria range, claim type. What am I looking for? Boat. Criteria range, claim description. What am I looking for? Accident. Enter. There is the sum of the duration for boat accidents. I can now copy that down. Let's double check. I'm summing the duration, claim type, looking for boat, criteria description, looking for theft. So we spend a lot more time dealing with theft than we deal with accidents. One more example, just this is one of those different ones again. Total duration on claims after a particular date create over here. Okay, so we want to sum ifs tab the duration again. So claims, tab key, square bracket, duration, square bracket. That's what we want to sum. Where's the criteria range? I'm looking where the date created is greater than 12/1. So I'm going to do the claims table again, square bracket, date created, square bracket, that's the criteria range. What am I looking for in that criteria range? Comma, greater than 12/1. Again, that's a piece of text. I have to type quote, greater than, and now I can type 12/01/2024, quote, and then close up my SumIF. Enter. How can we verify that real quick? Let's remember the number 221. Remember our filtering. I can go filter after 12/01/2024. So there is that. And then I wanted to sum this. It already has the sum in a total row, and there's that 221. So we verified that our formula is working. Last couple examples, and these are exactly like SumIFS, except it's average. I think I have a typo here, AverageIF. And same thing, you have one without an S and one with an S. I always recommend using the one with the S. And just like SumIF, the one without the S, they go What's the criteria range, criteria, and then what are we averaging? The one with the S, they reversed it. What are we averaging? Where are we looking? And what are we looking for? And AverageIFS, we can do more than one criteria. So this is exactly like SumIFS. So we'll go through it very quick. AverageIFS with an S. What's our average range? Claims, square bracket, duration, square bracket, comma, where am I looking? We're looking for boat claims again. So we're going to be claims, square bracket, claim, underscore type, square bracket. And then what are we looking for? Boat. So the only difference between SumIFS and AverageIFS is we're taking an average of the duration versus summing. But the formula works exactly the same. And again, this would too. Equal AverageIFS square, nope, parentheses. What am I taking an average of? Claims, square bracket, duration, square bracket, comma, what's the criteria range? We want that boat again, so we will go claims, oh, that's not claims. Claims, square bracket, claim type, square bracket, and we're looking for boat. And I'm going to put a $sign on the 19 because we're going to copy this down. And finally, what's our second criteria? Remember, you can have more than two. We could say boat accident open. We could have a third criteria. But in this case, we only have two. Claim square bracket description. And the description is accident. That's it. Enter. So that's the average spent on boat accidents. And if I drag it down, double check boat theft, that's the average spent on boat theft. The beauty of these formulas is I can have a list of, for instance, my different claim types. I type the formula once, and as long as I point to this cell, I can just drag it down and get answers for a lot of different information. So we did boat, let's do home, auto, right? So I'm just looking at our different claim types. We have motorcycle, looks like it's spelt weird, so I'm just going to copy it. And what else do we have? Good enough, I'll go with those. So right here we have a formula that says, let's average the duration for a claim type of boat. All I need to do now is drag that formula down, not so far, oops, and then we get the answer for all of the different claim types. It's just that quick. So boat, home, auto, motorcycle, and there's the answers. The key to that is referencing that cell. Very often I'll get students who will type the word boat in here. Well, now guess what? I can't drag the formula down, or if I do, it's boat every time, right? And so then they will literally double click and then they'll type the word home, and then they'll come down here and type the word auto, and then they'll come down here and type the word, in a weird spelling, motorcycle, right? That is a waste of time. What you want to do is reference the cell, boat, and now I can simply copy it down. So pay attention to that. There are two more functions that I want you to be able to use, and I'm not going to demonstrate them because they're exactly the same. MaxIFS. What's the max range, criteria, and then there's one called MinIFS. What is the minimum in a range? So if I wanted to know what's the shortest duration that we've spent on a boat, we would use MinIFS. What's the max duration that we've spent processing boat claims? I would use MaxIFS, but it's the exact same thing. Same three parameters. You have min versus average versus sum on those. So it works exactly the same. No need to demonstrate it. That is it for these functions. Incredibly powerful to summarize huge amounts of data very quickly. And definitely you want to learn to use this nomenclature for referencing your tables. It's so much quicker than dragging through the cells all the time. So if you're dealing with large volumes of data, turn it into a table, name the table something meaningful, and then you can reference the table just like this.